Hello, I'm Ananya Chaturvedi and welcome to DFRAC. Today we are going to talk about misinformation, propaganda shrinking space for a reason. Populist leaders want us to believe that news they don't like or news they want to reject is fake simply because it is critical of them and their policies. The world is littered with such examples. As they are popular, almost cult like in their personalities, their fan base, their voters, tend to believe all they say without arguing or reasoning. The act is not just diminishing empathy among society, but also erasing space for reasoning in public. Fake hate and misinformation flows at a great speed, thus creating an effect of popular belief that transformed the society into post-truth era. In 2019, a journalist in Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh, exposed a government school for feeding his children salt and chapati in midday meal, which was well below the minimum nutritional standards of the government. Instead of taking action against the school authorities, the Uttar Pradesh government swiftly acted against the journalist for portraying the government in bad light. Using false evidence and conspiracy, the government decided to accuse him of fraud. The Uttar Pradesh government essentially accused them of reporting their version of fake news. Barely 2 weeks after the incident, the same state government filed a case against 5 journalists for trying to report on caste discrimination in Bijnor city. Slandering journalists when the story doesn't suit those in power, accusing them of delivering fake news, has certainly become a commonplace around the world. YouTube and Twitter removed several videos and posts of China's state propaganda and information war against Hong Kong's protests, aimed at discrediting news that emerged in the last few years. Earlier in 2019, the Indian Parliamentary Committee, led by the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, asked Twitter to explain liberal bias, alleging that they not only target right-wing voices because they blocked and abusive accounts swept inside. So when we see politicians and world leaders determining stories like midday meal as fake news, the terminology itself gets discredited. Instead, we face bigger and deeper threats. What is the real danger of fake news? Misinformation, propaganda, hate speech, perpetrated by the state machinery and co-opted media voices. And where is the obvious need for reasoning? After all, salt and chapati is not at all nutritious, right? Liars, rumors, real news separated, put together for the purpose of allaying fear and diverting public attention from accountability. Such misinformation designed to deter journalists from doing their jobs. It is set to sow division of hatred among people as well as generate threat against questioning or reasoning. In 2018, a series of lynching deaths as a result of rumors about child kidnappers in India forced the Indian public to sit down and watch. We were becoming a part of a rumor factory. These deaths eventually forced the platform like WhatsApp to restrict our ability to forward messages without a second thought and realization. Through recognizable markers that what we get as always an original fresh piece of information. In 2014, the World Economic Forum named misinformation as one of the 10 biggest threats facing the society. It sows waters and reaps seeds of hatred. Think about these numbers. WhatsApp, which has been accused of spreading rumors and frenzy, has 4 million users in India alone. Facebook has more than 2.8 billion monthly active users worldwide. How many times are we shocked to read the comments of some of these users at the bottom of the most innocuous posts? Politics, gender rights, festival, food, just about anything can spark a verbal war about likes and dislikes. Digital platforms have brought yellow journalism back to the fore. For one, accuracy and fairness have little to do with the algorithms that make up news feeds and compilations. In India, propaganda is constantly being used to defame political leaders and anti government political legacies. Photographs of India's first Prime Minister Sri Jawaharlal Nehru being affectionate and social with female friends or family or lighting a cigarette was shared by the head of BJP's IT cell, accusing of being a feminist with Western values, and in turn rally political support for the current leadership of BJP, projected as one of the who upholds, respects traditional values. It's all profitable. The influx of concocted stories, rearranged half truths, and non referenced facts have determined trust in the media. Worse, it co opted a profitable bottom line in the mainstream media through unsculptures, politicians, and media managers. Troll armies, both human and automatic, conduct concrete campaigns, especially against religious or caste minorities and refugees, creating enemies from ordinary people trying to make a living. These campaigns prey on the most basic human emotions: fear and anger. Anger against corruption or unemployment, or reservation. For example, anger against real or perceived economic and social privileges. And fear of terrorism and threats of safety of refugees. The goal of propaganda is to divide and polarize the society, to make us less tolerant, to believe that another group is worse than us. As the era of hate speech fades away, the space for civil debate in the public sphere has been created by outrage built up in TV studio for thick, abusive conversations. Electoral contests or policies debates are no longer based on logic but on personal charisma and tribal loyalty. The question we need to ask ourselves is, can we put all the blame on technology's doorstep? If we do so, we open up the possibility of authoritarian governments and profit driven companies to try and regulate our responses. Instead, what we can and what we should do is identify, report, counter each time we see something abusive or hateful. We should motivate the forums to act. We must ensure that governments do not abuse the call for regulations and silence critics. Thank you for watching.